Well, I'm sure many of you know the dramedy that is Much Ado. For the sake of argument, let's revisit the 17th century Sicilian countryside.
Don Pedro is approaching!
Well-liked nobles, Don Pedro, the Prince of Aragon, Don John, his bastard brother, Conrad, Baroccio, Claudio, and Benedick returned from war to stay with Leonardo, the Lord of Messina, and his family, including Hero, his daughter, and Beatrice, his niece. Before the two groups even begin to intermingle, we're told that Beatrice and Benedick have a tumultuous history of bitter banter between them. At the meeting between the two families, we're made privy to Claudio's noted doting on Hero. Claudio entrusts his feelings of love to Benedick, who could care less about them, but Don Pedro, the prince, commends Claudio for his notable choice and agrees to help woo Hero for him. Don John is established as the evil, scheming villain who will enlist the help of his supporters, Conrad and Baroccio, to enact his plan of misery for the others. Later that evening, Beatrice unknowingly tells a masked Benedick that she thinks him a fool, which hurts poor Benedick's feelings. Another soldier's feelings are hurt, this time Claudio, when he is deceived by Don John into believing Don Pedro has wooed Hero for himself. An emotional Claudio storms off, but is later reassured by Don Pedro and Hero that, in troth, no, the prince has wooed in name of Claudio. Claudio receives the blessings of Leonardo to marry Hero, and the two are set to be wed in a week's time. To cure the boredom of the passing days, Don Pedro then announces his vow to unite Beatrice and Benedick in love. Leonardo, Claudio, Hero, and their assemblage agree to aid him in this noble endeavor. The next day, while perusing about the garden, Benedick overhears the conversation between Leonardo, Don Pedro, and Claudio, feigning Beatrice's love for Benedick. A surprised Benedick becomes enamored by the prospect of fair Lady Beatrice, despite his earlier derision of her. Meanwhile, Hero and her maidservant, within earshot of Beatrice, manipulatively speak of Benedick's love for Beatrice. Beatrice and Benedick, having been convinced of their mutual love for one another, each declare to themselves their previously unheard of desire for one another. After dinner that evening, Don John, determined to upset the blossoming romance between Claudio and Hero, again deceives Claudio of Hero's unfaithfulness, this time using the sight of Baroccio and a maidservant at Hero's bedroom balcony to trick Claudio of Hero's impurity. Enraged, Claudio is about to confront her then and there, but Don John convinces him to make a mockery of her at the wedding the next day. Later on in the night, a group of watchkeepers overhear Baroccio bragging to Conrad of his part in Don John's trickery, and the two are arrested. The next day, Claudio unleashes his anger against Hero to the sight of all of Messina. Bewildered and in shock, Hero faints, and Claudio, Don Pedro, and Don John storm off. In disbelief of his only heir's unfaithfulness, an angry Leonardo begins to condemn her to death, but is stopped short by the wedding's officiator and the town friar, who suggests that Hero's name can be cleared by pronouncing her death to all of Messina, at which point a distraught Claudio might come to honor her life. Beatrice, visibly shaken, is comforted by Benedick, and the two profess their heretofore unrequited love for one another. However, Beatrice's love is held on the condition that Benedick kill Claudio, a condition to which he reluctantly agrees. Later that day, Claudio and Don Pedro learn of Hero's death, as well as Borachio's confession of his and Don Pedro's involvement in deceiving them. Ashamed, Claudio stands before Leonardo and promises to clear Hero's name, and at Leonardo's request, also agrees to marry a different family member of his.
Here come the Prince and Claudio.
On the day of the second wedding, Claudio learns that the mystery family member he is to wed is actually his beloved Hero. Beatrice and Benedick also share the wonderful news of their love for one another. To top everything off, the scheming Don John is captured, and everyone begins to revel in the happy ending together, singing "Hey." Now that we're on the same page, let's begin to uncover the hidden meanings throughout this play, meanings which will shine a light on the current state of plastic in our society.